Hey, 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 hey. Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is our March tape, and here we are, high atop Mount Shasta. It's an exceptional day. It had snowed all last evening, so here at about 7:30, it's gorgeous. I've been pretty fortunate. I've been the only one on the mountain for the last several days, and it's quite beautiful when nobody's here because it's just sort of so peaceful. And last night it had snowed so wonderfully that on the way up this morning, before I had done the meditation, I was just looking at the beauty once again of the snow because there were no tracks and the colors and the diamonds and the sparkles. It is awesome. It's that beautiful time of year. The silence is so crystal clear here. The energy is so unique that it goes beyond words. And it's just just that beautiful. It's just so beautiful. Oh well, what we're going to do today is a continuing of the February tape. Now, when you get this packet, you'll probably get January, February, and March together. And so you'll get a chance to hear these tapes. So February and March go together. They're sort of a combined lesson. I know I don't usually do this, but I don't usually do a lot of things. And so I'm in the changing, as usual. And today, the subject material that I want to work with in retrospect to February's workshop is commitments. Commitments that we make. See, yesterday I explained to you about how to be, or not yesterday, February, I explained to you how to be true to yourself, and that in any given moment you should be able to be true to yourself and change things that you had agreed to, change things that you had made commitments to. And so all of a sudden that sounds, if I listen to that tape enough, like, wow, that just leaves go of responsibility and really leaves go of everything. And that, why even bother making commitments? Or why even saying that you will do things? Well, the key here is that sometimes in the world we make commitments based on things that we say. And these commitments that we make put energies into motion. Now, February, we had talked about, if things change, that things are always changing, and that you should be able to be true to yourself in any given moment, and you should be able to make the change in any given moment. And that if you were clear in heart and clear in spirit, then these are how the things work. Now, there are other things in retrospect to commitments that we make and the ability to change them at will. And that's what I would like to talk about today. The things that commitments and responsibilities bring into our world of energies. You see, everything is energy. And as we stay in present time and say that we will do different things, we put out into the universe X amount of energy because we have made a sincere commitment. We have said that we are going to do such and such at such and such a time, and this is our word. Now, our word is something that other people learn to depend on. In other words, I say I'm going to do a workshop at such and such a time, and I have a lot of people who are depending on that. Now, it's not so much the people that are depending on it, but the energy that I put into action to have other energies come and complete actions that I've made. Wordy? Yeah, that might have been a little wordy, so let's take another shot at it. I make a commitment to do a workshop. I place energy behind that commitment. I send out flyers to notify people of those commitments. I tell the universe that I am making an energy movement in such and such a direction, and that at the time that I make that energy movement, I'm very, very clear in what it is that I'm doing. Now, as the energy goes out and begins to work on a creation, there are thoughts that I put out behind the creation, there are energies that I put out behind the creation, there are actions that I put out behind the creation. In other words, doing a workshop. I commit a time to a workshop. I commit people to a workshop. I commit doing these things at a workshop. These are actions that I have set in motion based on my thought, based on audible words, based on energies coming from my feeling body, the excitement that the feeling has behind it when it puts actions and energies into motion. If my voice changed a little, we're just out hiking through some of the most gorgeous snow. It's like walking through a field of diamonds. I don't mean to interrupt the talk, but it's just so magnificent. I just thought that we should go out and take a real tiny walk here. I'd say it's about 3 degrees, so the walk's not going to be too long because the hair does freeze inside of my nose. But I just wanted to walk out here amongst the beauty and the colors and the energy that emits from the planet. Now, as we've made these commitments, we've sent energy out through all of the bodies, through the physical body by audibilization and things of that nature. We've used the feeling body because for some reason we've been excited about whatever it is that our creation is doing, and so we've put energy behind that. And also, and we are heading back to the vehicle. Cold is not the word. Woo! That's just me getting back in the truck. Truck's the only thing that can get up here on days like this. I do manage to keep the windows all the way down in the truck, and the windshield protects me from the wind that blows up here. And on these very, very, very cold days like March, we only briskly get a part of the workshop actually outside on Mount Shasta. The other part we spend sitting in this freezing cab. The reason that I've got the windows down is because the energy flows so clear up here that the truck does have the benefit of blocking some of the wind. So that's exactly what I'm doing up here right now while I'm talking to you. Okay, so back to commitments. And so I, as Dennis, as the person, with a clear mind, by being so present in present time, have set together a workshop. And I have put actions and feelings and commitments and thoughts behind the completion of this. Now, all of a sudden, let's just say that I'm going along and bingo, a workshop for whatever reason doesn't seem like it is going to come together. Now, if it doesn't seem like it's going to come together, then I must do different actions. And by staying in present time, I am capable of changing things because I am clear in the present moment. Now, this is what we had talked about in February. When you're being true to yourself and the energies are moving in such a way, you have the ability to, in present time, change anything that you want. Okay? And then, by changing things in present time, you're going to, start putting things in a new direction. Now, let's take a look at everything that we've done so far. We've agreed to do a workshop. We've put educational material out, such as flyers and things. We've talked about it. We've worked on it. We've put a lot of energy into it. And all of a sudden, we begin to notice that perhaps this workshop won't work. It is sort of like we were doing a healing workshop here in February, but due to not enough people to take the workshop, we will have to change it as it comes about. Now, changing it is going to entitle a lot of different things. In other words, first of all, we've put advertisement out, which means a lot of people, even if they don't come, are perceiving that a healing week is going to be happening then. They're going to be waiting to experience feelings. Now, this is something that a lot of people do unconsciously that they never really share with other folks because it's kind of an unconscious action. You know that something's kind of happened up there in the etheric levels, and so as a person, let's just say in the fellowship, or who gets all of the tapes, you know something will be going on during that week, and so your body is ready for feelings or essence to come through the ethers in retrospect to a healing week. Now, because Dennis has put these things into motion, I've got energies that are moving all around out there in the seen world and in the unseen world. In other words, the example was some people will subconsciously be ready to receive healings during that healing week that I said we'd be doing in February. And the end of the result is that in the moment in time I realized we didn't have enough people. I had to change the commitment. I had to change and alter the energies that I was sending out. And I have to cover all my responsibilities. See, now they're not so much Dennis's responsibilities. They are the things that Dennis has put into motion on the planet. And these energies, these actions, these feelings, these thought patterns are all out creating because I have set them into flow. And regardless how it comes out, I am responsible for those actions. Now, even though I saw that the workshop couldn't be filled and so I canceled the workshop out, I am still responsible for all of the actions and feelings and energies that have gone out in the preparation of such an event. Example, I am responsible for all of the flyers that I sent out. So my commitment to my printer is about $2,000 or $1,500, whatever it takes, because you send out close to 10,000 flyers on an event. Now, so I have a commitment to my printer, who in good faith printed up flyers, not knowing that the workshop might not come across, but energies in that way have already started and they've moved, and other people have responded in such a way and taken on the commitments of such responsibilities. Now, I go therefore and take care of the energy, the printing bill. I take care of that because, hey, I made the commitment. It was part of my action. Of course I'm changing it in this moment in time, but I have already started actions that I am responsible for. I have already put into the universe energies that I am responsible for. And we cannot forget the things that we are creating. You see, yesterday sometimes it almost sounds like, well, it's always here and now, so you just change things and bingo. Nobody's upset, everything's perfect according to by being true to yourself. And that is very, very true. That is very, very true to the individual that the commitment is being made to. However, there are other energies and commitments that you make to God, that the universe as nature takes care of and puts into motion besides you just coming along and changing things. And all I'm pointing out is that we are responsible for the energies that we place out into the action world through commitment. And so let me just keep explaining these things now. And so I cover my printing bill. Okay, now I've got people who have made commitments and who have sent deposits to me. And now I must call them and take care of new energies to demonstrate that other energies that I have sent out are not going in the proper direction. They're growing and they're doing things, but I have not, in a certain way, been able to complete the energies that are going out. And so now I must call the people and inform them that the workshop that they were planning on receiving is not coming about. And then Dennis, and naturally DAS, has to deal with either disappointments that the people put out, or never resentments, because our people aren't into judgment. But they do have actions going on their end. They have perhaps made commitments to the airlines. They have perhaps made commitments to friends to drive them here. They have perhaps made commitments in different ways of getting that time off so that they can show up here. Now, I'm not necessarily responsible in part for all of the things that they have done, but my responsibility is still there nevertheless, because me and that individual were co-creators in receiving a certain response that hasn't come about. And we have put into actions, that includes DAS and the people who were anticipating coming, we have put into action several different things. Commitments that they have made to different individuals about getting here on the workshop. Different things that are now out in the world that are, energies that do come back to you. They are the commitments that we have made, that they have made based on what we have said. And those commitments are out there in the universe, and when we as individuals are being true to ourselves and changing commitments, we must realize that energies that we have put out into action are making effects in the world. And that we as individuals are responsible to chase most of those, if not all of those energies that we can perceive down and bring them into another form of action. See, just because we've changed in the moment doesn't mean that we are not responsible for what we've set into action. Now, the key is to go after the actions that we have set into action and in our best way be responsible for those actions, because the bottom line is they're all coming back to us. Whatever commitments or things that we put out into the universe always come back. Now, the point here is that we would like to smooth out in as loving way as possible the commitments that we have made in such a way that as they go out into the universe, their ripple effect, which definitely comes back to the creative source, is dampened to such a way that our love is continuously being sent out. Sure, we've changed the commitment, but our love is continuously being sent out so that the impact of the commitments as they are experienced through other people, through other places, and through other things in the universe, that commitment that we have put out is also followed up by more of a loving commitment in the fact that we needed to change things based on such and such and such and such. Now, what I want to point out here is that everything we are doing so far is loving. Yes, some of the energies that we put out are going to come back, and they're going to come back in such a way like sometimes people who have made commitments to be here for the healing week that has gone by go, well, geez, man, I put this out, and I put that out, and I did this, and I did that, and now it's not happening? Well, that particular energy we are responsible for, and it does come back to us because it is the end result of our basic direct action. On the other hand, when it comes back to us, because we sent other energies out and we did everything in a loving mode, the key note for us is when the actions come back, don't take them personally. We did as much lovingness as we possibly could. We sent out a loving workshop attempt. The universe showed us that it wasn't perhaps time to do it. We canceled it out. We then became responsible for all of the actions based on printing and by word and things that other friends have committed to. We stayed in our highest integrity and kept putting out love, even to the fact that we had to cancel something that we created out of love. And so as we cancel it out of love. Sometimes the energies that come back from the universe are, well, shoot, you should have told us sooner, or why didn't you do this, or why didn't you do that? I mean, the end result is that those actions do come back. They only come back, however, for the length of time that the universe puts a judgment on it. If we stay clear in what we're doing in retrospect to commitments that we make, then as those judgments come back on us, we don't take them personally. We don't buy into their judgments, because the bottom line was we were as loving and as clear through the entire event and afterwards of the event as we could possibly be. See, we've got responsibilities. I've got responsibilities to call, 40, 50, 60 people who are all expecting to get healings during this week. I'm responsible to call all of these people, to write all of these people, and inform them that it isn't happening. This is a lot of work that I must lovingly do out in the universe because of my commitments. But I am totally willing to do it because I am aware of the fact that I have put the commitments out there, And in retrospect, I have been able to cover them in such a loving way that Dennis knew that from the beginning of the action to the end of the action, I have done nothing but put out love. Now, as energies come back to me, which may not be too loving, because sometimes people have a major attachment and a major disappointment to the event not coming about, but the key with an event not coming about is that, hey, everybody was doing their best. Everybody put out their best. Everybody did their best, and it was just something that didn't come about. As individuals return their energy, or the universe returns the energy, of course there's going to be a form of disappointment within the universe. The key for the person putting the energy out is, do not buy into what is going on. Do not buy into the facts that everybody's disappointed and that it's your fault because you put it together. It is never your fault. You, in lovingly attribute, did all of the things that you could possibly do. And now, because you're not attached and you know that you've done everything lovingly, then everything that comes back to you from the universe, you just take. But you just don't go into judging it or blaming it. You just perceive the things as they come to you, and you realize that, oh wow, this is what's come to me from this. This is what's come from me from that. This is helping me grow, because now I can see in retrospect to trust myself when I say things. Or if I'm going to do a workshop that I'm not quite sure about, I'm aware of that rather than putting a lot of energy out. Or, you know, a zillion and one different things that all could apply to these different things. I'm using the healing workshop because I use examples that are here and now. I use the things that are important to us to grow from. It's like, Dennis, where do you come up with these examples? Well, out of my life every day. Because I live what I teach. I do not judge. I do stay in present time. I do change things if I need to. I also am responsible for all of the things I do. And when all of those things come back to me, I am totally responsible for all of the actions and commitments that I have made. But I have learned to not judge them as they come back to me, because I saw the time and the moments that I put them out. And when I look at the time and the moments that I put them out, I begin to realize how in present time I am, because I can remember the moment, the instant that I put the energies out. I remember the thoughts and energies that I put out with them. I look at the things that I need to change as moments and times come upon me. I see these things and I change these things. And I don't get attachments to the end result of the energies that people put on me because, oh wow, Dennis, you changed this and it just fucked up my whole space, buddy. And the truth is that because I did everything lovingly, yeah, I'm responsible for all those actions and for all those things that come. But I'm responsible for seeing them as they come and not taking blame for them because I'm taking on other people's trips. You see, they're not sending pure love back to me. They're sending perhaps resentments or disappointments or attachments. See, they're sending back to me lower emotions that come from attachments or anticipations or things that took them out of present time. And so their lessons and their learnings is learning about present time, one of the things that I teach on, and not to take it personally. And they will then perceive how loving their growth has been, because all of a sudden they will see that, wow, what's the point of taking an attachment? I've just learned that attachments don't work and that I don't need them. Wow, what a profound scenario. And so what I'm talking about here is, yes, we make commitments. Yes, we are responsible for everything that they do. Yes, we can change them at any given moment. Yes, we are responsible for everything that happens from the original commitments, because the universe makes sure that everything comes back to us that we put out. And yes, if we do everything loving in the given moment in time that it happens, and we don't buy into anything when all these actions come back to us, and we stay in a loving scenario, regardless how the people put the energy to us, if we don't take it personally, then yes, we get love back, because that's what we put out. Some of the things that come back to us, all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, man, look at how I got screwed here, and this is no good, and now I can't get to the healing workshop. Oh, poopers. Well, if you're going through that stuff, then you're buying into anticipations and expectations, and you need to let go of it right away, and you need to realize that people are just doing their best in every given moment in time. And they will learn how to perceive within inside of themselves commitments that they can make and can keep by seeing how nature returns things back to them. And the way they learn to keep commitments is always be loving in every commitment that you make. And stay loving all the way through it. Stay loving even if you must change the commitment. And know that, yeah, there's energies coming back, but I'm not going to judge them. I'm not going to judge people's reactions to me. I'm not going to judge the way things go. And therefore, when things do come back to me, they are going to come back to me lovingly and caringly. And that I can truly understand. And that's the beauty of how things work. You see, they do. They come back to you. They come back to you lovingly and caringly. And if you stay with that, that's how we work commitments. That's how we can make commitments. Still, in all lovingness, because of the moment in time as things change, still be able to change things. But as a conscious human being, also being able to understand what our commitments have done in the event of changing futuristic events, and that we, in truth, are responsible for these things that are being changed in the future. And that we must take the responsibility by following up on the things that happen. Like, calling the people who are supposed to be taking the workshop, calling the people who are anticipating healings. Now, I've observed that people on the other end who sort of are receiving the, oh, no, it's not going to happen. Oh, wow, did I have a lot of expectations on this one? You people, as you get into that avenue, remember, it looks like we're running out of tape, so we'll remember on the other side. So just hang on, I'll be right there. Thank you.